Yeah, it's our time to shine. Show that's the kind of state of mind you gotta combine with hard work and time. You gotta climb to the top. Don't let yourself drop till your heart stops. Let this beat rock. Got a new clock and a new stock for this new rock. Just let your mind loose from the new stock. Drunk off the goose, yeah, thinking that I'm too pop. Getting caught with a few thoughts cause I'm too lost. Off the speakers can't even handle me. Giving what I got, nobody's gonna drain my energy. And I will never stop, I'm motivated by enemies. Setting up shop so everybody remember me. And now I am not going through life regretfully. I'd rather work non-stop, what they call incessantly, than work some odd job just to live life pleasantly. Already got lost in my mind, not a fantasy, I'm getting it. Forgotten souls, so stop, drop, and roll. You lost all control and pop off your ball. I got squat, I fall, I'm not bought, I'm sold. My stock rocks, it's gold. Hey, knock, knock, she home. It's shit, talk to close. I ain't stopping though, it's hip-hop, you know. Or is it rock and roll? I'm not dropping down, no, my pocket's grown. You can't stop the show, so get rockin' on. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. Taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about your, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never. You know I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about your, I ain't never make. Yeah. I ain't never slowing down, keep on going till I'm down. No, I'm never slowing down, cause we're blowing up now. I ain't never slowing down, keep on going till I'm down. No, I'm never slowing down, cause we're blowing up. Hard work's like a weapon, attack with no questions. In my own section and they still disconnected, cause their mind's been infected and they're filled with objection. Too filled for recollection, so we're losing all attention. They don't know I'm in contention, cause I'm gaining their attention. Cause I'm making a connection, lyricism and aggression got me feeling my ascension. In my passion, my profession, I'm attacking my obsession. Taking action and progressing, I go off on the enemy, that's what makes them scared of me. Make my plans carefully, then execute them daringly. They say I act recklessly, but that's why I'm effective. See, you can't predict my tendencies, I offer no transparency. Some people think I'm lost, others think I'll be a legend. I'm never gonna stop till I'm one above second. And my thoughts at the top, but my mind stay present. Don't let your dreams stop, cause dreaming is a blessing. Tell me all the same, told me I won't make a name. But it's not about the fame, it's about keeping me sane. So I stay within my lane, feel my blood pump through my veins. Feel adrenaline, no pain, welcome all to my domain. Yeah. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never. You know I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about your, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never. You know I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about your, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never. You know I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about your, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never. You know I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about your, I ain't here to make standing right here, eyes peer with my mind clear. Never look rear, only up, never down. Off the ground till I'm found. Hear the sound, listen to me now. As the beat pounds, every ounce of my effort pouring out. So you never have a doubt, do you like me now? Am I good enough now? Should I get more loud? Till you hear the fucking sound, oh no. I'm losing my shit again, having to fit again. Man, I'm forgetting when I used to have some friends. I used to play pretend, we all grow up and then hating my phone and trends. I'm about to blow my head, nobody knows I'm dead. Fear I'm a ghost instead, think that I'm close. I get straight comatose in bed, try to go slow with breath. Breathe out my nose and head, heart doesn't go the trend, faster it goes instead. One shot, that's all you got, take it right now, before you get lost, yeah. One shot, that's all you got, write your own story, you control the plot. One shot, that's all you got.
This is Netflix.
One shot, give it
No copyright, copyright free, that's why it's awesome. But, yeah. What's up, dudes? I got stuff to share, so I just thought I would get rolling. I guess I should close Discord, Steam. Okay. Checking the volume. Okay. I think it's probably good. It's probably good. So I thought I'd share some Shaligrams. I haven't looked at all of them. Most of them I opened. Some of them I've seen. I don't think I've ever shared this, but I made a point to get the file. It's from Mangalam Jewelry. Hey, good to see you. I was like, I don't know about this time. It's a little. I'm like over here. This camera's like struggles to go over. There we go. I guess if I turn it a little. There we go. Evening. Did you see that? Did you see that? That microscope or I attached a magnifying glass to the camera. Looks pretty good. Yeah, I was like, wow, details. Hooray, my objective. Okay, I'll stop it before I... But I've been looking at some Shaligrams, and maybe before I open that, or I guess I'll open it. This is probably a good angle to introduce it. But before we look at it, even though from this angle that we just looked at, it's definitely what I'm going to talk about is... Oh my god, where are my freaking Shaligrams? It's been so long. Snippet? There it is. Oh my god. It wasn't just like... Oh, there it is. It's like, no. I lost all my files in the void of wherever the fuck they are. If I don't have the little shortcut there. How's that, is that loud? It's kinda loud because my volume is up, but I don't know if it's actually loud. So, also, this is maybe a good example where there's a chakras, lobe over here, and then like a second lobe out here, so I guess a lobe more like there, and then another lobe, although it's interesting to think that maybe this could be a lobe too, like to there. I don't know, but yeah, okay. I thought it was like maybe I like turn the volume down like that. That might be the issue, is I usually turn the volume down there too, and I did not. That's probably what it was. No, it should be a stable level. Okay, that looks way better. That looks better. Just looking at the mixer volume. Hey. Evening. I'm doing pretty good, I guess. I mean, I guess. Like this, besides all the bodily pains that are seemingly accumulating and like kind of crescendoing slowly, though. How about that? I'm doing good now. Definitely some jaw pains, but anyway, doing good. But I came across this video today that Mangum Jewelry sent me like a year ago, or like 8 months ago. This vendor, one of the vendors on Etsy, who I like that Shaligrams from. Yeah, I'm gonna see a dentist pretty soon for like a checkup type thing. But like the last time I didn't even see a dentist. It was just like a fucking the nurse or whatever, like the person that does the cleaning, and the dentist didn't even like show up at all. Like, dude, my fucking teeth. So the person who saw my teeth was like, your gums are getting much worse. I'm like, what? They're like, oh my god. They're like super concerned sounding in some ways. And I'm like, this is not the best time to not see a dentist. Like, another opinion would be good. No, they just did the cleaning and like, I mean, I've had these pains. I've told dentists before, and they're just like, oh, we think it's like sinus related in some ways too, and not even like the teeth itself. I don't freaking know. Here's Mangum Jewelry, so I know. They're similar type of jewelry. Very similar images. Image style. Anyway, the vendor. I guess I can do this. Yeah, this vendor, Mangum Jewelry. Oh my god, lift it up. How the fuck did he do that? Because like mine are definitely receding to the point where I'm seeing like parts of my teeth I didn't see before. Like, how much further down can I go? Or up, whatever. Lots of Novocaine. Well, fuck. Maybe I can open this next to this. I don't have a way to. Oh yeah, I'm up there. Like moved it up there. That's a good spot. Maybe I gotta move me then. I like to like document the time for some reason. It's already there and decipherable where from. But when I saw this, I just was like, whoa. Like, this section here looks kind of like another like lobe outward, kind of like this. Like generally over here, this boundary. Like, what is going on here? And then like beyond that, over here, it kind of resembles that, like the chakra going over, down, over, down, over, down, over. Like it resembles just another tier of this chakra. But it's not. It's got those lines that we come across all the time, and I was really thinking about today in the Shaligram. I was anticipating doing literally another episode talking about the same Shaligram. It's already developing because these lines I noticed they connect between the ammonites a little too, like, curiously, and that kind of started to lead to a line of reasoning that I don't know. But maybe I thought I might do an episode starting there. There's those lines, and then like it really, like, we see the structure that we tend to see in like the ammonite over here. So, and like it goes up there. So it's got these boundaries. It's not like it's limited to here. It's definitely going down here. Seems to even have like relationships in this region of the stone. And then as soon as we turn over here, boom, another chakra though, where it like adjusts almost to a totally different system, where we can see the pyrite here really shows its boundaries. Like it clearly goes up to at least 2, and then like there seems to be a region of interaction where there's just all this pyrite here. And then looking at it from this angle, it looks like this lobe really goes over there, like over there. It doesn't just have like that boundary. Surely it goes over there, but we can see the other chakra's ribs here. This might be one of the most pronounced overlapping of eddies I've ever seen on this scale. Wow. Like, we can even see subtly in the pyrite little ribs like these, just not as pronounced, but there where current flows were flowing that way. So there was an eddy here that had flows going over here that seemed to flow into another eddy over here, but where their boundaries, I guess, maybe it was flowing out like around that way from the left side out the right side of the chakra here. Like if it flows in here, out here, but then back in like over on the far side and spirals in, then like this and this would be flowing out generally in this area, which maybe would lead to a lot of stripping of the shale here and some like degree of intermingling of the eddies because the currents are going in the same direction generally. That's what I'm thinking. Like these eddies interacted for sure, and we can even see above it this really odd feature. Like, what's going on there? Which we'll kind of get to. Like, we can see, pause it. Off of this, we can see little chamber divides, so it's like kind of creating an ammonite structure in the top here in this area, and little chambers making like a nucleus region, the center of an eddy forming that then branches off, interacting in this area, creating like a mass, backstop mass, that then it starts to cut through, divides to make the chambers in the mass, as well as just creating the ribs to the mass and shaping it. But it didn't do all that. It just did like a pressure point where current flowed into and eddied, and then off of that eddied further generally, influencing this area of the stone. But that pressure point is curiously positioned relative to this ammonite, because like if this is a like chakra going down and over, down and over, down and over, and like kind of going into this area of the stone, like back. So like this area, this region of the stone is where if this coalesced into a full lobe over here without any issues, where it like divided into some other eddy, if it had done that, it would have done so by having part of the current generally returning this way. But it seems like in this instance it didn't return, probably because of the shape of the rock was so like there just wasn't material here. You essentially, in order for an ammonite to grow in the stone by the eddy's currents, it has to be able to cut the matrix and shape matrix. Once it like reaches a boundary in the matrix, it tends to just stop growing because it's growing within the boundaries of its confined. Like as soon as the eddy that is stuck in this stone that is etching it and shaping literally the stone into be like this can exhaust its pressures, it doesn't have to grow anymore. So it doesn't. So like there's material here, but if there weren't, it just wouldn't do that. So there's lots of instances where it just stops growing, the eddy itself, because of some lack of material, and that seems to be going on here, where there's just not material. So instead, it flowed into the stone here, like trying to cut through the stone and just get back in like the pressures that are generally seemingly that were there. It just must have run into resistance of other currents essentially, so it couldn't actually get down to the stone, and instead led to an eddy in this area. That would be my thought. Which then shaped the top of the stone to have this subtle ammonite shape up here, while below it, almost as if like this portion is very related. Like it starts up here, but then it wraps it around and kind of dips down so that it's very slender. But like this mass is kind of like this here. It even has that shape right there generally. And over here, like a little prongs to it. Whoa. So it's definitely doing that here, where it's like creating chambers. Like, and tiers of the spiral. Chambers and tiers of the spiral. So like this layer. And then the next spiral portion. But it's just not doing it to a point where it forms completely to have a distinct and dominant structure where like modern science would say that is a fossil, this, that, and like categorize it exactly. It's more just like a mass. That interestingly, its like final chamber is above this chakra. And it's like nucleus, I guess, really. Like the region it spawns off of is above this chakra, which really points like right in at like right there. In that like center of where the erosion seemed to happen there. So there's lots of videos I opened. I don't know what's on these. First, some Etsy ones. I just noticed. This one I just thought was worth noting. It's from Shaligram. It's kind of a linear feature here in terms of how it is. Like, modern science would just say coincidence. Literally, that's all I can say. What is this? It's not part of this ammonite, so it's just kind of coincidentally in line with this little thing, as well as over here, like the boundary there. But it's in line. Like, there's another little thing. It looks like we can actually see it eroding the ribs, just starting to create ribs in there, like the next tier down. So really it would be like the chakra extending downward, but it's just starting to erode into it. Okay, oh man, I just saw something cool. Oh darn. There was like a row of like opening little like, I don't know. They're all videos of Shaligrams. That's why I'm streaming, because I need to close them. I was like, oh shit, I opened all these tabs. They must be closed. This one I was looking at for a while. This one's crazy. Crazy, because I probably have to find some Shaligrams. Specific ones. Believe this vendor. There it is. Believe. Read this. This is one of the examples. This one. This one. I guess that one. That one. Some more tabs real quick before we close them all. I would hate to run out of tabs. That would be terrible. That would be catastrophic. Yeah, I mean, there's really said to be damning of the person to buy or sell these things, so I'm probably going to hell. I guess I've already like broken the seal. My intention is to write about them and talk about them, not so much. Although I might, if I were to succeed, people would want them a little too much, maybe, or it's not. Like, that's why they were to be not treated like that. But there's a type of Shaligram that has like a tube kind of thing that goes down the center like this. That tends to form in oblong shapes, like maybe like a raindrop even. Whoa. But where there is a entry point into the stone on one end that tends to be like this specifically, where it's to one side, it generally is near the very end of the stone. It's in the long axis of the stone. This tends to happen to a point where I notice it. Like how it's at the boundary of that like tip there. There's this protruding section of the stone, and right next to it, not at it, but right next to it. So it has this tendency, that's very common, I wouldn't say every time, This one looks more flat. Like it actually flattened this area, although maybe. Let's see how it relates. It does look off center at least. Like maybe this is the longest point right around there. Yeah. You're looking at it like this. Like that point is not where it is. It's actually over here. But that's like the long axis. Maybe from here across. Although more like that way. Like perpendicular to the equatorial axis. These are like pole to pole, and then equatorial. It may sound ridiculous in at a glance, but that's actually how it is. There's like a pole to these things. So the point is, all those, because when I see this, I immediately thought it's doing that, where it has like the long end, opening, where like the energy generally propagated through as this like conduit that then forms a conduit like what is it called? This one, like these. It spirals through like a conduit of the current flow that then like fossilizes its actual structure as it flows through. Sometimes going both directions, where it creates like a wider thing like this, having like a central column too as it flows through. Here's one that's like spawning out of. They're not very studied. They are from the Spiti shale. I might be saying that wrong. It's considered like shallow marine water environment. Comprised of 4 species. It's Holly Walters who won't even respond to my stance.
Dream, or if you have desires, a girl in your life that's making you feel that fire. Go fight for her man, go die for her man, cause you only have one life, one chance to do it, one chance to prove it to yourself, so don't lose it. You got this, fam, just keep pushing on through it. One day you'll look back so glad you pursued it.
My interpretation is that they formed in a maybe a mud lava kind of setting. Like a mud volcano kind of setting, but like water-based, hot water probably, in an environment that had shale, pyrite, and quartz, and possibly not had it, but like maybe formed it. I don't even know. I haven't really thought about like how exactly these things came to be in the stone. Like how the shale came to be, how the pyrite and quartz came to be. I just know they're made of those things, and water shaped those things together to make the shaligrams during the flood. Probably a mud volcanic type setting. It's very complicated though. It really because I believe the region that these are from had extremely complex geological things going on that are difficult to explain and sound kind of outrageous. But literally stacked continents kind of thing in this area. Like this South China Craton. Or North China, I forget at this point. I want to say the south, but I feel like it's the one in the north, so it must be the north. One of the Chinese Cratons was over there. But atop this material, I suspect. In a way that when the earth was expanding during the flood, it essentially formed shaligrams. The right conditions were there. The right conditions and shaligrams formed. What exactly was going on, I'm not quite sure. But so they have this tendency to have a inlet, so it's effectively what's happening is there's a general flow that rotates around the stone, and another general flow that rotates around the stone. Around it though. And those flows will then kind of have a general balance point between them. And then there's pressures on the water, so in the shale, etc. So it can't move away. These currents are heavily held to the surface. So when the currents from over here kind of push over this way, this current over here, it doesn't just shoot off the surface. Instead, it is held by the pressures and has to instead actually go inside. I'm not sure if this is exactly what would be happening, but I suspect based on this having a systematic nature that is not just arbitrarily a beam going through it at a random location. It is actually fundamentally related to the shape of the stone and the currents that were flowing when the stone was forming, that then ultimately go in, but do it in a current path where it's just an eddy along a boundary that then runs into itself and bends, so then it goes inward, basically creates a nub. So there's a nub systematically in these things too, this little thing. This section right here is protruding, and then it also will erode around. As it's flowing around this boundary, it will erode around some nucleus region, generally speaking, which will then create the actual so-called fossil that we see here. That, at least this one, maybe people would be like, I don't know if that's a fossil, but generally when they're here, they are much more like these ones, like this. That would be much more, that's a fossil. But this one has the current flows etched in it. We can even see the central thing that tends to be a fossil is also etched by the currents, but the boundaries around it have all these little grooves, scoop marks that in a geological setting would be recognizably current induced, and therefore all of this is recognizably current induced. It's just not understood because we haven't really looked at these things. Modern science has just like labeled them fossils and no one cares. It's very related. I'm pretty much trying to deduce the nature of atoms in a fundamental way by studying these things. I don't really know. Like, it's actually important. It's not. I'm not just like arbitrarily doing this because I'm like interested. Like, I'm certainly very interested in them. It's also easier. Like, researching is a pain in the ass. I can just look at a Shaligram and see incredible things about it. And frequently, like, something that it's hard to recall all the details, but like maybe points me in a direction like this. I hadn't had that realization before that these tend to be at that boundary. But then this one, somewhere, this one is very much like that. But the thing is it's not those. Instead, it's eddies. It's ammonites in truth. What we would like recognize to be ammonites in the two positions instead. So over here's an ammonite, and over here's an ammonite. And this one actually has a little curious ribs here towards like a chakra center, and then the boundary there that's related to that, almost like creating a mass around it. And again, it opens into it though at that like far point of the stone there. So it went in on this side. And it even seems like it has a tab like it tends to have in one of the chakras, which strongly suggests that that's generally what's happening. Is that a current is like flowing in like this, or then as it goes in, it does flow like this, but creating that lump by running into itself to a point where it essentially bends inward and like changes, so it's going this way as like drilling in though, slowly drilling in, but instead it rotates, so it starts eddying this way, which then leads to a chakra in the actual ammonite structure instead of one of these, and that's what we end up seeing is a more standard ammonite type thing there. And then the other side also had one, which suggests some kind of current through the stone is probably happening for it to be so polar about it's like it's very polar. One on one side too, one on the other side. Each just past the pole right off of it. Okay. There's so many videos. This one's cool. I was thinking about buying it because it was cheap. Pretty cheap. That was relatively cheap. This is a pretty cool Shaligram. We can see right here an anomalous cutting. Like I just cut it twice. Which happens a lot. I was curious about these paths, what they might look like around it. If they wrap around it, which they tend to do, if they do, that would be incredible. There's also another chakra on this edge. You can even see it kind of extending into like right here. Just no fucks that there's another fossilizing next to it. It doesn't care. It's almost like they're not physical things and are just ethereal by being water. I don't know what the water-based equivalent of ethereal is. Fluid. Here's another example like that other one where it's trying to do the next lobe, but it just didn't have the material. looks like it even eroded here and just kind of wrapped around the top here. Current that wasn't getting in went back this way and went back around, almost orbiting the central mass. Literally on top of the galaxy. On top of the galaxy. I thought this was interesting too. So this would suggest a current flow was going around the central area this way, pushing this boundary out here. That a current was generally going across, but it had its boundary pushed out as it went across there, and then it got past that flow, which maybe would even suggest like that it's not just moving off, that there's another current pushing this way at like a different elevation, if you will, or different, whatever, longitude, latitude. The one that's north-south, more northerly, and then it is more southerly below the equator, which is generally what this is, like the equator of the stone. Again though, above the equator, like above the wide point, almost using it as a brace, is this eddy that spawns. And where this one is part of the eddy. Although interestingly, opposite there is where like the widest non-ammonite portion of the stone is. Well, okay. That's this one. I thought I'd just kind of mention at the later points. Still unsure if it's real, but I see no way that someone just made this in terms of its details, and I don't know why they would do that. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's got certain details that are pretty hard to explain other than that it's actually authentic. Here's another one with like multiple things going on, where we've got ammonite here, another ammonite here, but then it's like this over here, and then this down here are doing what tends to happen for a single ammonite. Like over here, how it goes off that way, off this way, kind of wrapping back around. Like it looks like a single lobe out that way, even though it's part of this, which makes me think maybe like there's something that can be gleaned from it. I don't know exactly. Like chakras, I envision like a chakra going down over here, and a chakra over here, where this is all kind of behaving like a lobe. I don't know. That's crazy how this is like boom. It's almost like current went this way and then went up this way. This is another example of interacting currents. I've definitely talked about this one before, but I thought this was really interesting because of the angles. Like it looks weird and bent. Sure, it's like the rock and everything's fine in a fossilization standpoint, maybe, where like the shape looks maybe not bent, but there's really clear relationships between these boundaries over here and this over here, even these like paths here, suggesting there's some kind of relationship here. And then if we go this way, like this doesn't really look this angly. Like it looks this angly. Like it's weird. So it's almost like it's because of the shape of the rock, maybe it's initially etching an eddy this way and another eddy this way that then interact over here, and dominantly it becomes part of this eddy and not this, because this didn't even really form an eddy, it was just cutting in. Maybe even from the other side coming out, I don't know. It looks kind of like it might have been venting there. But it bends it, and it looks wobbly like over here. It's kind of trying to like reestablish it here. Like literally do and move it even maybe to be more in line with this. So like the current is adjusting its position in the pressures. I thought that was of interest here. Take a little sperm. Okay. I was opening a bunch of these again, so I'm just gonna click through them. Let's see. Here's another good example of one that stacked and interacts in interacting ammonites. It doesn't really make sense. Like someone would just be like, I was just nestled in there perfectly, and that's why. You ignore that there's like a relationship there. There's a relationship like right there. It doesn't matter. That's a coincidence. And then ignore that this thing, which really is just an imprint. So that's just an imprint, right? Ignore that it has like a boundary of this ammonite that goes this way across here. And then there's another boundary that seems much more related to this imprint that goes up that way. And another boundary off of that edge that we can see there. So it's got multiple like wrapping boundaries, and then here where this boundary is actually another lobe. Over here it looks kind of lobe-like. Like a lobe could be hiding in the mass of the stone there. But there we can really see like the way it's forming the dendrites in a lobe, and then this area is kind of recessed, like a current was flowing generally around here. And possibly actually that way, around that portion of the stone. Almost like a freaking chakra on the far end. Okay. That's that one. These are mostly from Shaligram Kendra. I'm just gonna close them. Here's another one that has details that shouldn't be. Here's the ammonite. Here's the matrix. Oh, is it? Whoa. Matrix, but it has ribs on it. But matrix. It's the matrix. But it has ribs on it. Shaped by currents. Okay, next. So we can see Eddie there, and then there's mass around it, where this eddy was creating one of those masses around the eddy, like the video we watched initially. Like doing like this, but way more than this. So to compare it to more so to kind of compare that to how it's making this mass here, and then more of an eddy there. That's kind of got a boundary running up to the boundary of the same night. And then something going on back there, but it looks like that, and it goes like that way some reason. Okay, hard to say. That one, this one's, oh, it's so cool. Divide in the stone, where like the pressures of everything is actually interacting with one another and dividing. Shape in there is anomalous. It's like sloped. It's pinched. Wow. It's like the current was just exploding out this way, pretty much. Pinched here, couldn't get through here very well, but it went out this way extensively, it seems. But under like a high pressure, where it didn't actually erode the pyrite or quartz away, it just stripped the shale but left this like pure pyrite looking thing. Pure gold looking thing, really. Looking. Another one. This one, like, almost like one of those canyons that have the river flow down them, and little like tiers of water, puddles in certain areas where it like drained down into this one, like eddied here, drained down through, eddied there. Some relationship of that nature. That's crazy when he turns it. Okay. This one actually kind of relates to the stone that I did the last 4 episodes on. Where it has subtle it has boundaries, like there's little that just are like lines sometimes that relate to the ammonites, curved lines. I have a feeling that they highly relate to basically any boundary like this. Where it like goes underneath itself and spirals up. Like if you follow the boundary, it actually ends up going here and going up that way, where it starts here. So it doesn't actually come back to itself like a donut. It actually ends up going up here and going that way. So it spirals, the boundary spirals. That, highly important. Highly important. So cool. Another one that just, it like reaches its venting capacity and vents. That looks kind of like a chakra right here. a lobe and another lobe that was being like somewhat etched into that surface for some reason. Oh man, this music is probably gonna get copyright hit or something. That's so cool. Oh my god, this one's incredible. Little chakra ammonite. Something going on here. Let me see. Yes, the Valley of Balls. Is this the Valley of Balls? Libya. No, maybe not. No, Valley of Balls is like Kazakhstan or something. Are there little planets that formed in the flood? It all formed in the flood. But that's what I mean, is it's like fractal. It was such a high energy event, the flood, that it actually created large-scale versions of fractal systems that we really don't see being formed anymore. But doing like solar systems, like planets, galaxies, in stone. On different scales, so like these are much more like planets or like galaxies as a whole. And then like my physics proposals would suggest that like there's beings in these layers that would like look here and see around them a galaxy, and they would just be seeing this stone, and then they would look at like out through the stone, because they would look at subtle enough energies as their visible light spectrum that they would maybe even be able to see this other stone from the inside of this stone. It's crazy to think about. And then they'd be like, oh, another galaxy at some point. But I don't know if it would still be like that, like in its like end, or if it would be more when the process was happening and it was like alive. Might be like a dead galaxy. I don't know if there really could be such a thing per se. Galactic sense. Okay, let's go past all that. This one's just crazy. Okay. I don't know what to make of it exactly. Pretty cool. This is a different vendor I've never actually came across, I don't think. I opened several of their videos. Pretty cool. Nothing. Another Siraj Das. I've definitely seen this one, and I opened this one because it's very related. We're flowing between them. Wow, that boundary looks interesting. Like right there. Definitely see the ribs going down from the top chakra throughout that area. Looks almost like the current is going down a little too far, creating like full-blown structure in that segment between it all, like little tubes, separated tubes that was smushed into one another instead of like a single. Wow. Very cool. Looks like a current came in there. Eddied in the stone then, maybe? Very narrow, but...
सनातन धर्म में शालिग्राम का विशेष
Whoa. That one's cool too. Looked like a chakra. I gotta see it again. Like a current flowing around this, wrapping all the way down to like a here, making it almost have like a nipple. I'm not, or like one of those things that attach like kind of like that. I just happen to have sitting there for some reason because I'm lazy. Took it out the other day, not many days, but there's other ones that look like chakras. Okay, we saw that one. That one's crazy. Incredible. Sraj Das one. Another one that's kind of smushed. Like it looks like this section of the stone had some kind of smushing happen, maybe. That I just like pushed it in and like shifted, like literally like a earthquake shifting portions of the earth relative to one another, let's say. Some kind of faulting, like a fault line, full blown shifting from pressure though. Like it literally looks smushed. What? I can't see under it very well to tell like what the structure is like there, but reminiscent of that other one. If this is like cohesive over here, maybe this is even behaving like a chakra right there. Lobe, another lobe. Like current was coming out here, maybe. Back in over here. And I'm just eroding the surface. That's crazy how that has like a perfect boundary. What? seems to be limited right there to the height generally there, but not to this side. This side actually looks more related to this ramping angle. Very cool Shaligram. Next. Oh, wow. I did not see this one yet. I definitely was excited for it when I saw the thumbnail. Oh. So we've got a chakra here, another ammonite structure in there. Something going on there. Quite defined. Something going on there. Like, what is up with that portion of this ammonite? And then above it, or the Shaligram, above that is above this ammonite. Some random, like, equatorial belt that's generally seems like to have a width and a boundary down there. Very cool Shaligram. I'd like to see it more, but that's all we got. Let's see, he's got more. That one looks kind of sloped too, or like shifted in some way. Whoa. They're all incredible. Wow, just the way that one is. Oh my god. Looks like a piece of machinery or something. Makes me think. Like, okay. Wow. What details? Wow. Okay, let's track this. We got this ammonite going around, doing its thing, right? There's its boundary there. We can see its boundary quite well. That seems to maybe be related to over there too, maybe, but let's keep going. Then we see right there's a freaking boundary as he turned it that looks related to this whole section. Some other boundary there too. Ah, shit. it's fine. Whatever. Here's another chakra. Just subtly. Tears. This one I'd be curious to like really trace. These little wrinkles. See if they spiral. Probably up to the interpretation of the individual by how, like, if they spiral or not. Imprinted there. Okay, cool. Crazy. So cool. Strange. Tiny little ammonite there. Ammonite there. Looks like a chakra there. Like there's subtle ribs out this way. A rounded boundary, like this was generally a chakra. Looks like maybe like a chakra region there that had lobe type structures on both sides. Okay, nothing too exciting. I don't know why I clicked this one. Whoa. Cool. Okay. Wow. Whoa. I guess chakra's this way with like a lobe out. A huge lobe. Holy crap. Another huge lobe. But just huge freaking lobes. But like, what is going on? The lobes are like there and there. It's hard to tell how that relates to this. And then that. This looks like it's being eroded and smooth. And then there's erosion there. Like it's almost like a change in the system. And then that's where that is beyond that. So again, the rock is kind of like divided in half, if you will, with almost like a Z type shape. Or it just goes. I don't know if I can do this good. It's like a divide generally, but with like a gap. So if like, let's say there's boundaries of a rock, one side is generally fine, but the other side has like an opening. Seems like it's maybe generally, and by opening I mean where the divide is not there. Not an actual physical opening, but actually a non-opening. Wow. That's incredible. It eroded on the top side in this area, but then the bottom side, this area, and it didn't actually connect either. I guess it did connect here. Maybe it came out. here, went around this way, and couldn't quite get in that easily, so instead it went to like this layer and went around. And then ultimately vented and created this opening, but these openings. Wow. Definitely some curious details. Whoa. This was one of my favorite I saw. Oh my. How cool. Very reminiscent of one that I probably could not find. That I've shown before. Here's one. This is not even the one I was looking for. Where it just has like a fracture in the stone, looking like some slice, and then ammonite. Slice ammonite. That looks a lot. There's some petroglyph I've seen upside down. Oh, okay. I saw this. I was wondering which one this was. So there's a good chance that was shaped. I was gonna say, I feel like they might end up in a fish shape somehow. Because I've seen it many times, but it's hard to say if those were like etched. Someone could certainly do that. You can see like smearing in the erosion over there. Where it's like trying to get in. Even like creating like a shock right here. And like lobe and a lobe, even though there's chakras there. Very cool, very cool. That almost looks like a lobe. I'll see it again. Like an out of place lobe. Because it would be protruding out of the side of this. Definitely looks like a lobe. But it's like on this ammonite. Incredible. It's out of place. Another proof Shaligram's have that ammonites are not fossils. Just another drop in the bucket of proofs that ammonites are not fossils. This one looks like it might have one too. And the contours there. Little ribs that shouldn't be. Like they're, that's not where the ribs are. That would be inside here, like on the chakra, but instead they're kind of on this portion of the mass. Hard to say if that's actually going on. I might show us pretty good. I mean, I could see it there. And at least it's happening there. Possibly in there too. More current lines around the stone, like going up this way, that angle right there, up along that boundary, up that way, relatively parallel to that. Oh shit. Another cool one. Another secondary thing growing on the side of it. Generally at its end, one of its ends. Okay. This one I thought was really interesting. Oh my god. I didn't even see that. I just saw this. I thought it looked kind of like a chakra. Like these are almost like ribs off of a chakra that are trying to go sideways off of it, but like it's just didn't do that very well. Instead, it like created the ribs, which definitely relate to some kind of like origin point over here that arcs away from. But then it has another one over there on the opposite side. I didn't realize. Very much reminds me of one I've seen. Yeah, we can see ribs there. Seen on eBay. That's probably still there. Let's see if I can find it. We're gonna say 400 minimum. I believe that will help us. I'm pretty sure it's in that range. I think it's like 600. Maybe I should say 400 to 700. Fairly certain it's in that range. So I just happen to look at them. But yeah, I can't afford that shit. Because it's awesome. Cool ones, that's for sure. Not the one I'm looking for yet. Can't remember the vendor. I have some guesses, but guess not. Whatever. That's crazy. I don't know if I've ever seen that one. It looks so just kind of matrix, like subtly shaped. Wow. The way this layer narrows to the left side, seemingly related to this thing. Wow. Okay, whatever. Where were we? I think I was gonna just look. Sure. There's another one with the like pole structure. Come on, show me the money. Big whammy, no whammy. Big whammy. Well, the lobe cuts are well defined. We are looking at shaligrams. Do you know what shaligram is? Yeah. These are shaligrams. I am trying to decipher the nature of the cosmos. These are not fossils. They are pseudo-fossils that are shaped by current flows that they themselves demonstrate by their nature. I'm just documenting my many hours of analyzing them for a future that gives a shit. That's pretty much what's happening. Oh my god. Whoa. That's a cool one. Let's see. Very cool, very cool. Same one? No. Another one with the structure like off of the pole, so that's an aspect of these. Well, they're essentially fossils of current flows that actually were present in the stone. Maybe vibrations is an interesting way to put it. They were high pressure water flows. For sure water was involved. Probably generally hot temperatures. I don't know if it was steam or like liquid water. I suspect liquid, but possibly steam involved that were under pressure so as to not have anywhere to go. So when a current entered a general region, it would shape the matrix of that region that it was in, which would then lead to fractal iterative processes of like a cosmic nature, where in this instance, for example, there's a North Pole, South Pole, an equator of how the currents flowed. That tends to systematically create like drill points into the stone. So this is like a drill point into the stone where an eddy was forming, generally just off of the pole. So there's like a pole that tends to have current flows around it that essentially cuts in at the pole, and that leads to an eddy. In that, like, inflowing instead of flowing this way, it cuts in and flows there, and that eddy then has nowhere to go and is under high pressure, so then it starts to drill into the stone, but it does so along the margin of an eddy where like the highest flow rates are, because of the being against the resistance there. Essentially, that's where the flow rates increase the most and are most able to cut into the stone. And then they will systematically create these little tabs in the structure where it's like running into itself. So it has to like bump inward, spiral inward into another tier. And then it creates like a central node like this. And that's just when it like goes inward in an eddy, but inward. Other times it cuts in the same way, but then it like changes the plane in which the eddy is happening, and then erodes the stone to be more of an ammonite shape, like is more traditionally what are found in shaligrams. There's a bunch of shaligrams. Here's my folder of disproved science. So like this one has 2 ammonites that are literally coalesced as one in terms of like their boundaries are one. They're like 2 shells, I argue, cannot do this, and there's many instances that are more like concrete in appearance than this. This one has been like viewed by people who reject what I say and they don't care, but there are many examples. This hand looking one's cool. But this one that is like the matrix tends to be actually shaped. So this is a good instance of what's generally happening. Let me pull up this thing. I'll draw it. If I can find my pen. I mean, vibrations is probably highly at play because it's vibrational energies, like pressure like this way across the stone and pressure this way across the stone that maybe is in a sort of tug of war kind of thing. I'm not really sure if there's anything of that nature at play. I don't want to be surprised. So it's quite possible tying it to vibrations would be like a fruitful path. Haven't really considered it. But in essence, what generally happens is there's like an actual top and an actual bottom that is generally above and below this, like at the center low. And flows of particles, not just water, but like the actual particles, are caused to go from the top to the bottom where there's a resistance. And then like a pressure, like gravity kind of pressure that is just like a top where the current then adheres to this like reality, so it is trapped by pressures but is flowing generally in downward into resistance, and it leads to basically taking all the shale particles, bringing them to the resistance where they then fan outward and create like a bowl shape where they run sideways until the surrounding pressures leads the flows to arc within that pressure. And then it creates basically a bowl region where all of this like downward pressure is flowing into this bowl region, so it overflows around the edge of the bowl, but it doesn't do it in a random way. It actually does it in a conduit where like here is a conduit. Let me pull this one up for more images of it. This one is like a common example I point to because it's so epic how it's shaped. It has a hexagonal type of overall shape except for here. So like the matrix that the so-called fossil is contained within has a shape that isn't like the fossil shape. but it's a shape. It's not. It's clearly not the result of just kind of like random coincidence of river currents. This is like a actual cosmic process or physics that's like revealed in stone, where the conduit is here, so then it overflowed through this area atop this eddy region. So like going back here, it goes down through and out to the sides, but at some point it kind of has like a balance pressure that then leads to current sideways, that then leads to generally pushing boundaries like above, that erodes like a lobe outward, another lobe outward, and then another lobe outward, and just expands the structure, which is essentially an eddy forming between the resistance of, and then this downward flow. It's kind of like a wall as well that's pushing into, but it's a current, but it's like a wall holding the pressures of it all as the current goes down into it. And then it leads to this bowl, but then the bowl leads to a flow around the top, which then yes, this is how we are made. I don't know if you're joking. That's alright. I don't know. Leads to a flow though, that then is like a cosmic system turning on. Thanks, Bane. Will do. Will do. Thanks for dropping in. Okay, I'm gonna keep going at these things here.
ये देखिए बंद है, जब उसको खोलेंगे इसमें आपको लिंग का रूप दिखाई देगा। ये शंकर भगवान का रूप, महादेव का रूप, हर का रूप हो गया। तो इसको हम हरिहर, विष्णु और शंकर भगवान के रूप में जानते हैं। ये हरिहर शालिग्राम कहलाता है। ये देखिए बंद है, जब उसको खोलेंगे इसमें आपको लिंग का रूप दिखाई।
I'm just like, maybe I should finish talking and it's just the video itself. Some thoughts. I guess I did. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I just feel like he was possibly not serious. So that's how they are made. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Whoa. Or I just encountered them before. That would be real cool if people who actually have encountered shaligrams before stumbled on my stuff and were like, what's going on? Didn't hate it. Can't accept this. Curious. Curious. Okay, okay. Oh my god. What the fuck? Dude. Wow. Looks like a bird. Straight up like a bird. And I don't think this is someone shape of the stone. because these erosions are a function of the surface. Looks like a parrot or something. Crazy. Oh my god, and then totally gone. The resemblance just gone. So like this is eroding a further lobe up there that's kind of eroding, but definitely having some interactions with all this other stuff. It's also bending like we saw in the other ones. Like it's going very much up down essentially here. And then it bends. Another lobe being eroded out further. Another ammonite over there. Lots of little... exactly what I was just talking about. These little currents that erode around the boundary because that's where the current is fastest. And drill into the stone and take like drill samples practically. Oh my god, that looks like a chakra right there. 2 little lobes and a chakra within the ammonite itself. Oh my god. Little key. Keyhole. This one's got like a little bird. Oh man. Reminds me of the... this one. Oh, that one there. What a Shaligram. Oh yeah, we saw this one. Also incredible. You can see like this ammonite is going back that way. So it's almost like it's a chamber. This ammonite is like a chamber that goes back around. And is even related to this chakra going down over. So like on this half, it goes down and back up. This one, it goes down, down. So it's like cut in here. It's doing that thing where it cuts into the chakra and creates another layer downward. Which, let's see if we can find a simple enough good example. Oh my god, where are they? so many examples. Kind of like what this one's doing. Where it has like a boundary, but then it cut down in, so the chakra goes down and over there. Incredibly close to the other one, to the point where it eroded between them. Doing it here. See it do it there, where it's just cutting into the structure. Like it forms the structure and then it cuts into the structure after it's formed because it no longer can contain the pressure of it all. So it vents through weak points that are systematically at like a point right there along that path that then cuts and creates like the next chamber. But it's like related to this ammonite for sure. Oh wow, definitely interacting and things going on. Okay, we've seen that one, This one's incredible. Okay, there we are. I caught up to these ones. Some more of those lines cut in the stone, like across. That's another like good sign of like a vibrational thing. Some kind of back and forth. I do like that idea of vibration. Thanks, Soham Main. A YouTube comment. This one's actually where Shaligrams are from. The only place. Cool, very cool. Carrot. Oh, nice. They got video. I wasn't sure if these would have video. Whoa. It's doing one of those like tube structures like we saw not too long ago. But into it? Wow. Crap. Okay, let's go on basic, if you will. One thing I did notice is on its that circle thing is definitely worth noting. Where was it? Is it pointing at the chakras at all? It's relatively... No. It's pointing at the lobe. Anything. It's like pointing this way. Some other ones from there. What? A lot more going on this one. Like, what is even happening? Oh my god. No clear evidence that they're like coalesced as one in any way, so it could just look like a couple pieces of ammonite all kind of connected by this matrix at the end. Nothing out of the ordinary, I guess. But like, what? These ribs really do go up to this structure quite well. And then show up again over there. Very strange. I'm doing the chakra thing. Lobe. I feel like the layering in there is interesting. Again with that like up. Okay. Oh wow. Oh my, that little dimple. It's doing a lobe. But like one of those Eddie type things with this. This is... Cool. Oh yeah, I brought this one up. I don't know what this is. I thought I'd just kind of share it again. Someone claims it's a Shaligram. Freaking unlikely. Although I've seen interesting things in caves in the area that make me wonder sometimes. This top looks kind of like a donut. It had an opening in it. I guess it's possible. The way these things are, anything is possible. Okay, we made it. We freaking made it. The erosion pass. Oh my god. Who called these fossils? They legitimately didn't even look at them. They just said they're fossils. I mean, for all intents and purposes, that's what happened. That one that I was looking at that looks kind of like Vishnu or something, and it reminds me of this one. I think it's this one. Yeah, this thing. This thing, which is like next to this, which is also a kind of suspect looking Shaligram. I don't know. It doesn't really look like one. It looks weird. It looks off. Next to that, it's highly suspect. But this does kind of remind me of it. even ignoring, like if we were to say it's possible that a rock could somehow form to have like a Vishnu thing going on like that, like okay, I think I'm gonna call it. I'm really surprised I didn't find that. Maybe at 900, 300. There it is. Boom. That's the one I was looking for. Like the one that had a chakra and then like a off one side, off the other side. It's pretty much doing that here. This thing's incredible. Strong evidence they're not fossils. Looking very much like an ammonite would, but just not it. Yeah, typically this would just be an ammonite up like above about here. It would bend in, it would join, everything would be good. Well, actually, maybe not join, but like go internally and wrap inward. Okay, alright. I'm out. Thanks, guys. It's a pleasure. Maybe I will do some more other stuff. I don't know. I don't want to. The thing is, I'm recording onto YouTube in my Shaligram Zone episodes, so maybe I could do like another kind of stream too. I don't know. Alright. Well, maybe more casual, or I'm just not even streaming to YouTube, just straight to Twitch with no recording. Then I'd be more just like, whatever. Doing whatever I'm doing. Did you try Marvel Rivals? I saw you load it. I was like, shit, nice. Thanks, man. Thanks, guys. Okay. I'm gonna take a moment here. Actually, I keep playing. Take a moment here. Yeah, a little bit of this. Boom, 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 boom. This area, kind of interesting. There's also some little like subtle lines kind of around here through it that I noticed when I had it like this. Oops, that's not stream. Oops. Oh yeah, I wanted to do that. That's what I was trying to do. There we go. But then as I hit, like, it just looks interesting. That thing I circled green. Really can see the chambers very well here. And the shape of the rock in that region where the ammonite is just like cut in half looking. Okay. I'm out of here.
Yeah, it's our time to shine. Show that's the kind of state of mind you gotta combine with hard work and time. You gotta climb to the top. Don't let yourself drop till your heart stops. Let this beat rock. Got a new clock and a new stock for this new rock. Just let your mind loose from the new stock. Drunk off the goose, thinking that I'm too pop. Getting caught with a few thoughts, cause I'm too lost. Off the speakers can't even handle me. Even what I got, nobody's gonna drain my energy. And I will never stop. I'm motivated by enemies. Setting up shop so everybody remember me. And no, I am not going through life regretfully. I'd rather work non-stop, what they call incessantly, than work some odd job just to live life pleasantly. Already got lost in my mind, not a fantasy. I'm getting there. Forgotten souls, so stop, drop, and roll. You lost all control and pop off your ball. I got squat, I fall. I'm not bought, I'm sold. My stock rocks, it's gold. Hey, knock, knock, she holding shit. Talk to close. I ain't stopping though. It's hip hop, you know, or is it rock and roll? I'm not dropping down. No, my pockets grow. You can't stop the show, so get rocking on. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up. I ain't never giving up. Taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you. I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up. I ain't never. You know I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you. I ain't here to make it. Yeah. I ain't never slowing down. Keep on going till I'm down. No, I'm never slowing down 'cause we're blowing up now. I ain't never slowing down. Keep on going till I'm down. No, I'm never slowing down 'cause we're blowing up. Hard work's like a weapon, attack with no questions. In my own section and they still disconnected 'cause their mind's been infected and they're filled with objection. Too filled for recollection, so we're losing all attention. They don't know I'm in contention 'cause I'm gaining their attention, 'cause I'm making a connection. Lyricism and aggression got me feeling my ascension. In my passion, my profession, I'm attacking my obsession, taking action and progressing. I go off on the enemy, that's what makes them scared of me. Make my plans carefully, then execute them daringly. They say I act recklessly, but that's why I'm effective. See, you can't predict my tendencies, I offer no transparency. Some people think I'm lost, others think I'll be a legend. I'm never gonna stop till I'm one above second. And my thoughts at the top, but my mind stay present. Don't let your dreams stop, 'cause dreaming is a blessing. They tell me all the same, told me I won't make a name. But it's not about the fame, it's about keeping me sane. So I stay within my lane, feel my blood pump through my veins. Feel adrenaline, no pain, welcome all to my domain. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never. You know I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never. You know I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never. You know I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never. You know I'm taking that crown from you.